Hey everybody, how we doing? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Uh, Welcome back for another week. We're here to do some cool stuff with Braze, do some cool stuff with Liquid, but more importantly, how's everyone going today? If you've got anything you want to give me a shout about, pop in the chat. All right. You probably noticed when I started this, I forgot to put my light on, so I didn't even realize until I turned the camera on that I didn't have the light on, so just going free. I've had an interesting day today, actually, because apart from work and everything else that's happening at the moment, my audio device, which is down here, went kaput last night after... What's that? Let me show you. My trusty friend, you can see it's pretty dusty there. This is my trusty friend. It's survived since 2016, which might not sound like a long time, but for something like this, for technology, surviving since 2016 is pretty good. But finally, Windows 11 decided that it didn't want to work with this bad boy anymore. And so it's not that it's broken. It actually is still quite functional. It's just I'm kind of sad to see it go. I wrote songs on this. I used to play in a pop rock band for a long time, so I record a lot of music on this. I've done videos with this, so I don't know. Might be the right thing. Maybe we should bury this. Maybe I should make a video and bury this in my backyard somewhere. So when someone buys this house, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I've just dug up an M Audio 2-track MIDI." They probably won't know what it is because it'll be in the future. But anyway, if anybody's looking for one of these, I have one. So I have a brand new audio device tonight. So let me know how the sound's going. If there's any issues with that as well. Just make sure my chat and everything is working fine for you guys. All right. Beautiful. All right. All right, beautiful. All right. So the main thing I'm planning to do tonight, which I'm pretty excited about, is this afternoon is, well, I don't even know what time it is where you are. Main thing I'm excited to do is for a long time I've kind of wanted to build like a text adventure, like, but inside like inside an email setup. So I mean, for a while I thought maybe I could do it in like in-app messages. So for those who don't know, I do a lot of work in a program called Braze, which is like a marketing customer engagement platform. It sends messaging out. Like if you see things popping up or getting emails from things, chances are it's coming from a tool like that. It's kind of what I spend a lot of time in. But I've always wanted to do something that's a bit more creative, because I like sort of seeing what things can do, but also a big believer in, like, if you're doing stuff, you might as well be doing stuff that's fun, you know? There's no point like just building stuff that, you know, and you can't get creative. But when you're getting creative, you can learn some cool stuff along the way. So I've always wanted to get in there. I like gaming. I've always liked things like text adventures. I kind of grew up through that era of, you know, text adventures and Sierra Games and Police Quest and King's Quest and all those things, you know, when texting was like texting's still a big thing, but when texting games was a big thing. And I thought it'd be really cool to try and do something like that, but do it like you do it in a message where people click on the screen. I feel like that's pretty straightforward, but I haven't seen people sort of do it in like an email journey, so that you click on something and you pick your journey, and then the day after you would actually be getting a different part of that story, and it would be piecing it together. And I'm not going to do it day after day. I'm not going to make you come back in a week's time and find out how this went. I mean, it depends on how much we get built today. But I thought it'd be cool to actually set something up. We can work out how to build this together. I don't even have a story for this, so I'm probably going to get into the AI at some point and see if we can figure out a bit of a story for this going forward. But the main thing I wanted to do tonight is get a bit of a bare bones for putting this journey together, and figure out how to make this work with buttons in emails and somehow figure that out inside Braze. And along the way, I reckon we'll probably both learn a bit about linking things together and getting emails to connect to other emails. And I'm sure there's 100 ways to do this, but yeah, you're probably going to find out what I'm thinking. Anyway, it's going to be fun. And the main thing to do is, if you're building stuff, just make sure you have a lot of fun while you do it. So I'm not going to hold you guys up too much longer with that. I reckon we just dive into it. We just get cracking on building this. So the main thing for those playing at home, you're going to need a copy of Braze, but if not, it's okay. You're still going to find this very entertaining. All right. And be sure to let me know if you have any questions along the way. Let me know how your day's going, by the way. You can pop that in the chat and tell me how your day's going, because I'd be really curious to know how everyone else's day's gone compared to mine as well. So, all right, just close that down. All right. So I'm basically starting from scratch here. So for those who haven't seen this before or might not have access to this, this is a program called Braze, and it's kind of like a tool It's a tool that you use to send out messaging in all sorts of forms, especially things, email, pop-up messages, these sorts of things would be very common, but we can do lots of stuff with this. We can do SMS, we can do push messages. I had this great idea for a push message alarm clock at one point, where this would actually ping me in the morning. Every morning it would actually send me a push message just to get me out of bed, which I thought might be a clever thing to try one other time. But today we're going to try this text message adventure story. So, and if anybody has any ideas for what to do with the story, let me know in the chat, because we'll get to that as we go. All right. So first things first, we are going to need a new canvas. So a canvas is basically almost like a flow chart that builds out. You can build out these journeys in there. So some of you will be aware of some of this stuff, and some of you won't. But we can basically build out a journey in here of where we want our messaging to go. So what are we going to call this? We'll call this text adventure. This will be exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to be building this. All right, text adventure. I need this key because I need to put this into my little program so I can trigger this. You guys won't be able to see me putting this in because I don't want you to see all these numbers, but putting that in there. All right. Now, text adventure. Entry schedule. Now, an entry schedule, it would be basically just set this up so that people, if people want to pop in here, they can. And you can trigger it by all sorts of actions, but I'm actually going to trigger this by an API so that I can just trigger this whenever I want. And an API is basically I'm using another program to send a message to this that will ping it and go, hey, start sending now. And I can tell it what users to put in there. And the only user that's going to be in there is me at this point. User. Speaking of users, this will be me. Now I have set myself up in here. MVP test. So, because I've just set myself up a test user in here. There's minimum viable pizza test. If I look them up, they should match this canvas and they should exist. Yes, because there is only one person in this, this entire workspace, and that would be me. All right, send settings, fine. Don't need to worry about that. But here's the exciting bit. This is the building the canvas. And you can see I've opened the email over here on the side, just so that we can actually see what's coming through at the same time. So basically, for those who haven't seen this before, there's all these different actions we can take over here, and this is essentially like a funnel. We'll drop my test user in here, and they'll start to go through this funnel in here. Now, first thing we're probably going to need, if we're starting an email text adventure, is to, you guessed it, send someone an email, because I think that's probably a pretty important step in this whole process. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a message. So you can grab a message, bring it over here, pop it on there, link him up. And link him up. Oh, actually, we'll call this email 0. You'd be like, why 0? Well, I like to start things at 0 because in things like programming, coding, anything in technology, like if you've dealt with arrays, which is like a group of things sent as data, they all start at 0. Computers count from 0. So if you're counting to 2, you actually go 0. If you're counting to 2, if you want if you want 3 items, you go 0, 1, 2. So everything in computing starts at 0. So I like to start my emails at 0 and probably confuse the next person that comes through to check this out. What do I want? I want an email, and I'm just going to use the drag and drop editor to make this nice and easy. This doesn't have to be pretty today. We can make this pretty from tomorrow. That's no drama. Well, when I say tomorrow, I mean next time if we don't get that today. Because the main thing we want to do today is we want to get this built and this working. So, all right, we've got our blocks here. We can chuck a title in there. We'll go, what about your journey begins? Your journey begins. Is that Pokemon? The journey starts today. Yeah, that's Pokemon. All right. If there's any Pokemon fans out there, let me know. Let me know what your favorite starter character is, because I'm pretty sure that's a hot topic. I would name one, but I'd probably get it wrong. So I'm just going to say Charizard. Yeah, I like Nintendo, but I don't really follow Pokemon that much. All right. Now, what we really need here is that we want this to this email to pop up. It's going to have a little bit of a story in there. So we might go with we'll go in here. We can chuck a paragraph in here. I'll just keep this really easy. And we go, the story goes here. We can center that. So we've got the title of the email. We've got what we want the story to do. And then basically what I want it to do is have say 4 buttons. So you can read this bit of the story. You guys might have played something like this in the past. You can read this bit of the story. and then you can click on one of the buttons, and whatever you click on, it's going to register inside Braze, which is over here, it turns out. And then next time you get an email, it's going to send you that based on what you click in here. Now, you could use this for all sorts of things. Like, you could use this for journeys with your shops or products or anything else, but let's do that. Nobody's buying shoes. We want to go on a text adventure. So we're going to put it in here. You're going to click on the button. So what you get tomorrow in your email, or later today, could be completely different to what I'm getting in mine. It'd be like these. Do you guys remember Choose Your Own Adventure books? Yeah. Does anybody remember them? Choose Your Own Adventure book series. Has anybody ever read these? No, we don't want to go shopping. We want to go to images. These. Does anybody remember any of these? I used to go to the library and read these all the time when I was a kid. So there's all these different ones, and what would happen is you would go in there and you would read the page, and at the bottom of the page it might be like, turn to page 56 or turn to page 52, depending on what decision you make. And you would go to different parts of the book and they'd have multiple endings. So if you haven't seen these Choose Your Own Adventure books, go check them out. I mean, they're looking pretty old now. Mind you, that's pretty cool again. I mean, dragons are back. Gives me a great idea for this story. So basically we want that. We want people to be able to click on the email, and then later on they get a different message depending on what they're doing. So people can click on this. We're going to need some buttons, right? All right. So we're going to need some buttons. So we're going to put a button in here. Maybe we'll just put another button there. Put another button there. Put another button there. I mean, we probably should stack them in some sort of line, but I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, you know what I can do? We can pick a row, and we can say we want our row broken into 4. We can put that in here. And I'm going to chuck my buttons in there just to make that a little bit neater. There might be too much text later on, but at least this will look pretty snazzy for now, hey? All right. So we've got our 4 buttons. We're going to call these, what do we call these? Button A, button B, button C, button D. And so these will be our 4 things. So someone will come in here, they'll read this bit of the story. They'll read the title, they'll read this bit of the story, and they'll click one of these buttons deciding on where they want to go. Now, this is where I think things start to get tricky, because emails can register clicks, but emails don't necessarily register exactly like which button was clicked in a lot of cases. There's kind of the systems to do that, but basically an email just kind of knows, did they click the email, did they not click the email? But I was thinking about this today. Something you can actually do is you can put what's called an alias on the end of a button. So wherever the button links to, so kind of like when you're sending a message out and it might have the web address and then all these little details after it to let you know where it came from, what the source was. You can do that with the links on the buttons. Now, what's cool about that then is if you've got that information, that alias about what you've linked on these buttons, you can use that to filter later on. So even though the email doesn't really know which button you clicked on, you can use that alias that's attached to the button. Now, it'll make a bit more sense in a sec, but let me show you what I'm thinking my logic is. So I've got these 4 buttons. Now, what I did set up, davidoreilly.dev. It's my little dev space. So I set up this. So thank you. Your response has been recorded and your journey continues soon. Because I just needed some page to go to. So you notice I put that in the CRT green just because it's pretty cool. So take that over. I'll put that here and pick button A and URL. Where do I want that to go? I want button A to go to davidoreilly.dev. But I'm actually just going to make all the buttons go there. You're like, hold on, but they'll go to the same spot. It's okay. You'll see why in a sec. If we come over here on the left, and then we choose link management, it's going to look at anything that has a link in here. And these buttons all have links. It's going to look at all of them and it's going to give them an alias. So I'm going to click on link management. And you can see here, it's got link 1, link 2, link 3, link 4, which would be button A. So they just go in order. And it's put davidoreilly.dev in there, but it's given each one a special little code at the end. And what's really cool about this code, they're all unique. So now, even though it doesn't know which button was clicked specifically, it can look at each of these links you can use that. That's the alias. It's the bit attached at the end. You can use that to filter people later on. And this is where I reckon this is going to work. So this is untested, by the way, but I've seen similar things done. So if I come in here and I put, I don't know, journey because you can give these a normal name so that you don't have to worry about these crazy links. So I might just call this Journey 1. Now if I come to here and I go, yep, Journey 2, Journey 3, and maybe we'll go Journey 4. Now, so you can just do that, go back to design and build. Now if I click on each of these buttons, you'll see it's actually changed over here. It's actually added the links, the alias links to the end for me by default. And so this is the bit that I'm going to use to know where these go. Now, if I test one of these buttons, can I just, yeah, well, here's the alias link. I'll just put that in the browser. See where that goes. It should just take me to the same page, but it's got this ID on the end, and this is going to be really important for us soon. We don't even need to remember what that ID is because we've named these Journey 1, Journey 2, Journey 3, Journey 4. So let's just call this will be the first email. If we do done, and that's all set up. Incomplete messages. Oh, must have a subject. I always forget to put subjects in when I'm testing stuff. I don't know about you guys. So with the subject. Your journey starts today. Pokemon. Might take that out. Nintendo might come and find me. I love Nintendo, but they're pretty good at taking people down. That's a fact. All right, there's the example. We do done. They come down here. Preview and test. No, we're good. Done. Does everybody else do that? You're just like, no, we're good. It's fine. Save and continue. All right, so I'm going to save this and just test this email is actually firing and those links are working before I go too far, because it's always good to break things into little chunks, because then if something's broken, you know what's broken, rather than building a whole thing and then trying to go back again and go, oh, geez, I don't even know what's broken in here. Elliot, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. A grilled Australian burger chain ran something similar from memory. Oh, that's exciting. All right. When you order through the app, they send an email asking where you'd like a portion of your purchase to go. That might be the charity thing they run, where is that similar to the one where they send it to the charity groups? You choose one of 3 charities. There you go. It lands on the page and triggers follow-up comms based on your pick. That's super cool. Yeah, they're possibly doing the same thing with that. They're probably using these aliases. There might be other ways to do it, but buttons and emails are hard to work with. Emails are old school. Now I'm going to get my mate Bruno out, who's my API tool, and I'm going to send a request, and hopefully that went to the right place. Oh, there. Bingo. Hope you guys can see that. We've got an email. MVP. All right, I'll just make this big just so it's nice and easy. There we go. We've got button A, button B, button C in my email. If I click one of them, there you go. And they'll all just take us to the same page, but the alias will be different on the end of these. So I'm just using this as a landing page, basically. So this could say anything. You can take people to different landing pages if you really wanted to. That's no drama at all. All right. We'll just chuck him back over the side. We don't need him at the moment. Nope, that's Bruno. I've lost my... Nope, that's not it. There we go. I don't know what you guys saw there, but it would have been chaotic, to say the least. All right. So... we're going to go in here. We're going to edit this again. And now, so what I think would be the best way to do this is, because we're going to send this email to someone, and rather than, we don't want to send them down, you can use, there's a thing in here for some, there's decision splits, which is like a yes and no. There's audience, so that's that one. There's an audience path. Oh, that's an audience path there. And there's decision split, which is yes and no. For anyone who hasn't seen those, I'll pop them in there. And that's just a yes or no. We don't really want a yes or no because we've got 4 options at a minimum. Audience paths. This you can set up, I think, 8 different categories, 8 different audiences, so you can feed people in different directions. But basically, unless you delay them at the start, they're just going to fall into this straight away, and it's just going to cycle them out. So, one of my favorite things to do, action paths. Now, I don't know how many people... if you haven't used action paths before, essentially what this is, you can set this to wait for a purchase or a custom event or all sorts of things, basically. You might be adding an email address, changing subscription groups, triggering a geofence. It can be all sorts of things, and you can have a stack of actions here. And they're actually sitting in order. And what you can do is it will hold them in this step for a certain amount of time that you set. So it's currently set to 1 day as the ranking. one day, and once they trigger that action, then they move through the step. So this way you don't have to worry about delaying them or anything. They can just sit in this step until someone does that action. Now in my case though, the other thing you can do is you can actually rank these as well. So you can actually have more important steps to least important steps, hold them for say 10 days. They might do lots of different versions of those steps, but then it will push them through in the path that is highest ranked. So you can also rank people through here. Now we don't need to rank people today. We just want to know which button they pushed. So if I say group 1, let's call this journey A. Oh, if I could spell, man, I'll move up there. Call that journey A. Now I want to, what do I want to do? Now I know. No. Change the custom attribute, no. Update subscription, no. Group status, interact with a step, no. I'm sure there's a way to do this in here. Let me think. Makes a purchase, adds an email address, updates subscription, so interact with a campaign. If I just type in alias, nope. Perform custom event, is it under here? Alias, actually, change, update subscription status, interact with a campaign, interact with a step, nope. Oh, here we go, interact with a step. So just so everyone's, I knew it was in here somewhere. So I want to do interact with a step. Is there interact with a step in this campaign? Interact with a step. So interacts with a step in this canvas. You say add trigger, and then click alias in email, I think is what I'm after. Braze's step does not have this type of message. What? No. Oh, because it's not connected. Go Braze. You knew that I didn't link this up. So we'll link that up. So now it's connected. So it should know what's happening in the previous step now. Oof. All right. Journey A. Click alias in email from email 0. Yep. Search for alias. Journey 1. Why don't I call them button A and call it journey 1? What idiot does that? And then I called the email step 0. All right. So click alias in email. Email 0. Journey 1. Button A. So there's some logic for you. Now, can I just duplicate this? I have no idea. We'll just make all them. Group 2. Now we know what we want. We want step. Interact with step. Alias. Journey 2. We're going to go step. Alias. Yep. We're going to do journey 3. And then we're going to go step. A trigger. It's fun to say step, isn't it? Little P on the end there. I don't know how that comes across in the other end, but I love little P. And then I'm going to have an everyone else. I like to have an everyone else in these sorts of things just as a backup. And you can say, I want this group to exit the canvas. I use that as a bit of a fail safe. You don't have to have it. You could have one of these other steps. I like to use that so that if there's someone somehow is in there for some reason that is not related to any of these buttons, it just boots them out. So there's kind of no reason for them to accidentally get this email and not do anything. All right, so journey 1. Oh, I'll just copy that. Journey 1, journey 2, and journey 3. This will be a lot easier once we get to the email step because I'll just duplicate that. And journey 4. And the ranking. How long do we need? We need the email to arrive, and then we need it to rank for, I don't know. One thing to note with action steps, once you launch a canvas, you can't update your action step. It's kind of seen almost like a conversion event. So with conversion events in Braze canvases, you're kind of stuck once you send that going. So just thinking how long I'll need for this. I'm going to put 3 minutes. How long I need for this email to arrive, and then I have time to click on it before I go back again. I'll probably regret this very quickly, but let's see how we go. Hey, all right. Oh, I got an idea. All right, 3 minutes. All right, done. So, what's happening here? Coming into the canvas, it's sending me email 0, which is this one that we saw before. Then once it's sent me that email, it drops me into this action path and it holds me in here for 3 minutes. I'm not getting ranked, but it's going to look for which one of these buttons I click on in this email. And then depending on which button I click on, it's going to choose to send me down one of these paths. Now, just to make this simple, I'm just going to duplicate this email down to here. And I'm just going to stick some text in here. I hope you guys can hear that. Good vibes. So this should be journey 1. And we won't worry about where those buttons go for now. Then we can duplicate that. Put that there. Duplicate that there. Duplicate that there. And we'll call this journey 2. You know, we better change the subject line while we're at it, just so it looks a bit snazzy when it arrives. All right, that one, just linking all these up so it knows where they're going. And then we edit this message. We'll call this journey 3. This is exciting. I don't know how excited you guys are to see this button go. Pretty excited. Because if this works, then we can start building this story. I personally think something with zombies might be a bit in vogue at the moment, so... Mind you, I just finished watching Freerun. I don't know if anybody else watches anime, but I just finished watching Freerun, Journey. The heartstrings, man. Pull it to the heartstrings. So, if you want a great show, look up Freerun Beyond Journey's End, which is on Netflix. So, pretty easy to get into. Very cozy. Easy watch. Alright, and Journey 4. It's our last one. Oh, why am I going in there? Just going up here. I'd like to put a big shout out to the drag and drop editor, by the way. It's just getting better all the time. Journey 4, done. All right. Everyone cross your fingers and toes. Here we go. I'll get rid of this email so we have no issues. All right. So I got that. So I should go in here. I should get my first email. I have 3 minutes to click this. If that breaks, we'll just duplicate the canvas and try this again. And then I should get an email that relates to the button I push. You know what? Just about it's Oh, hello, Bobby. Welcome to the chat. All right, button A. All right, let's go. All right, save. This is good. Some people are going to be watching this going, man, I finally know what this guy does during the day. Because up to this point, I think some people wonder whether I actually have a real job or whether I'm just say I'm in marketing. All right, gonna go with my mate Bruno. Oh, I use Bruno. It's an API tool, by the way. I don't, because when I was at Microsoft, they didn't think Postman was secure. That's for Microsoft standards. Don't everybody panic based on that statement. So we started using Bruno. Turns out Bruno's pretty cool, and it's let me just show you Bruno API. I mean, look at this guy. What's not to love? So if you're looking for a new API tool, Bruno. All right, so let's send this message. And send. All right, we wait for that first email, and then I'm going to click on something really quickly. And then we have to wait for 3 minutes. I was going to say I have a 3-minute timer. I have a 15-minute timer here, but that's all right. Probably should get a timer on the screen so you guys know what you're waiting for. Come on, email. 3 minutes. Let's go. Do you guys ever flick between tabs to refresh it? Oh, look, I'm live, apparently. Now live on my channel. I'm building a Braze text adventure. I mean, it's good that it sent that to me so I know. Come on, email. I'm a bit worried this didn't even send. Bruno wouldn't let me down, though. Bruno doesn't work like that, so... Come on. Oh, did I not say that I could re-enter the canvas? Classic rookie error when you're testing things, guys. Target audience down here. Allow users to re-enter this canvas, which is great. You normally don't want people to come back in unless there's a specific reason. How long do I want to come back in? I don't know, 20 seconds. Just give myself a little bit of a buffer so I don't end up on some weird loop. All right, let's go again. Just going to call my mate Bruno again. They said we don't talk about Bruno, but on this stream, I actually talk about Bruno a lot. So, yeah, don't worry about those people. They don't really know what they're talking about. Oh, all right, journey starts today. We've got our first email. Journey begins. Story goes here, working. Button A, button B, button C, button D. All right, just so we're not going for the first option, we'll go for button C. It should go to the page. Yep, thank you for your response. All right, now we have to wait 3 minutes to drop through this action step because I gave myself a bit of a buffer. Maybe it was too long. I don't know. We can fix that later. All right, so I've clicked that. Essentially, I can just dump that email now. Now, if we look down here, you'll see that I've entered this step. Actually, I'll refresh that because I've entered again. Just so you can see what the data is doing. You can see how this action step's actually working. Action steps are so cool, by the way. Action paths. Better get it right. Don't want Braze calling me. All right. So you come down here. And so you see I've entered this step. I've exited this step. And I've ended up in this action path. So this is me here. Still don't know what it's called. We'll go with action path now. And so basically what it's doing, it says pending in step. So it's holding me in here for 3 minutes. It's not ranking anything, but as soon as that 3 minutes is up, it will move me on immediately based on what I've clicked. Now, currently it hasn't registered that I've clicked Journey 3 because, it'll pass me through there at the end of the 3 minutes. It doesn't tell you ahead of time. That's right. So this is science. We don't want to bias anything. So fingers crossed. End of 3 minutes, we should see something exciting come. And if this comes up, you know what's cool about this is not only can we start making these look snazzy, we can actually start putting this story together. Because, I mean, we only need 1 or 2 steps to really build the story. I'm still voting for something about zombies, so unless someone pipes in the chat and tells me otherwise. Actually, you can just pipe in the chat with random words if you want, and I can piece that together in chat GPT or something later on. Man, come on. We want this to come up and say Journey 3. Because I clicked button C, okay? So we want Journey 3. For those who've just turned up, we're using aliases on email buttons. So it's a little link on the end of an email button to filter this by, because Braze doesn't really know what an email button is. It just knows that you've clicked it, but it doesn't actually know where... Oh, hold on. It's in my promotions, Journey 3. Oh, you guys can't even see that. Sorry, guys. You didn't get to enjoy the excitement of me looking at lead page. Oh, MVP 3. Journey 3. Journey 3. Yes. It worked. There we go. So, I can see a couple of people jumped on. Feel free to say hello, but if not, I can see a few people jumped on. Just to show you what's happened, it sent me an email. I've really got to get the hang of this Zoom. It sent me an email. In each of these in this buttons in here, the buttons have an alias on the end of them, which is basically, it's a URL. Hey, Rabbi Rider, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. So each of these buttons goes to a link. I've just sent it to my portfolio dev site. But once you create a button with a link, it automatically adds this alias on the end. If you go to link management, it'll automatically give each of those links an alias. You can call it whatever you want. I've called them Journey 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's good about that is because email and Braze doesn't really know where the button goes, you can use that now in, say, an action path or an audience step. And here I put clicked alias in email, in Canvas step text adventure. Don't know why it's gone with text adventure. Oh, for Canvas step text adventure, email Journey 0, Journey 1. So it knows that I've clicked on that one in this specific journey. And therefore I can use that as a filter. It holds them here for 3 minutes. In my case, you could have them hold it here for a day or a week. So, you know, they can click it over time. And then it shoves us down each of these paths. So where this is going to just, I don't know if you guys have realized this already, where this is about to get really wild is that if I have 4 paths with action steps of 4 paths, what is that? Like, oh, yeah, I just want to calculate it. Thanks. So we saw a picture of whales then. We didn't need whales. Well, we got like 4. Is that 4 times 4 times 4, 4 times 4 times 4 times 4? Okay, so if we did about 6 steps in this canvas and every step had 4 on it, we keep here for a while, guys, because we might be up to about 4,096 different versions of email, which is pretty cool to think that you could actually build that's probably a legit game you could actually build in here at that point. What I'm thinking might have to happen, though, is I might need to cut this down to 3. And, actually, I can still edit this. You normally can't edit this once you've launched, I thought. Oh, well, that's good. I can cut this down to 3. And I think some of these paths are going to have to diverge, but that's okay. We'll get to that. All right. Let's get in here. We're going to... you can't change the minutes on your action path. You can change your action path, but you can't change the timing. Okay, we're stuck with 3 minutes. That's fine. I'm going to delete number 4. No, I'm not. Smooth, Brady. Smooth. All right, we're going to go and fix up Journey 4. Journey 4 and step, because we want to step in this canvas in case you hadn't seen that already. So yes, and we want to alias, and we want the alias to be Journey 4. We'll narrow it down after this. Go Journey 4. We'll do it done, and we'll just leave that as it is. All right, cool. Now, how we're going to write the text for this is really the next big question that we're going to have to work through, because I hadn't gotten to that point. Actually, I better save that because this is working, and that's pretty exciting at this point. So let's make this full screen. I don't know if I have the Braze AI copy tool in here. I wonder if I have that in here. We might be able to bang out some text with that. It's going to make for an interesting story, to say the least. All right. Hello to anyone who's lurking in the background there, and welcome to the stream. Building a text adventure game here inside Braze today. I'm not sure we're going to knock all this over in one session because it's turning out the setup's taking a bit longer than I thought, but that's all right. We can come back next Wednesday. All right, so we want some copy. So over here, in case you haven't seen it, there's the AI copywriter. I'm not sure if this is going to work for what I need, but what do we want? What if this will even write about zombies? All right, Black Friday sale ends soon, 80% off everything. You are a text adventure game writer. I mean, we all are at this point, so that's exciting. Can you write me? See, it's not going to remember what I did. No, this is actually really awesome because it's not going to remember what I did every time we come back in here, because that's one thing I learned about the Braze AI. It'll write for that piece of copy, but it's not like, say, ChatGPT where it has a memory and a history. So I think we'll start in here, see how bad this gets, and then we might move it out of there later on. I have some other ideas about how to make this adventure really good. So we might actually do this code for a couple of weeks. So I'm pretty excited. All right. You're a text adventure game writer. Can you write me an intro paragraph about where you wake up in an office in an abandoned hospital full of marketing zombies? Abandoned office full of... This will be CRM. No, we'll go with marketing because it may not even know what that is. Marketing zombies. Approximate length, 1 paragraph. So there we go. That could be really good. Apply brand guidelines. I have none, nor do I want any. Tone, eye-catching, sophisticated, urgent, exciting. Urgent, passive, professional. I mean, surely we don't want a sophisticated zombie story, do we? All right, let's go with... We're going to go with exciting. Output language, English. That seems like the best choice at this point because I personally don't speak any others, but... Generate. If anybody's wondering, listening to Stream Beats by Harris Heller today. So if you're looking for good non-copyrightable music, it's on Spotify. Stream Beats by Harris Heller. Puts out some good stuff. All right. Come on, Braze. Don't let us down. So what we're doing at the moment is we're writing an intro paragraph. Oh, whoa. Jeez, all right. Awaken your... Oh, wow. All right. Awaken your inner storyteller. Imagine opening your eyes and as you venture deep into the forsaken office, you're obstructed by hordes of marketing zombies. Step into the unknown. No, we don't want it. Navigate labyrinth of in both. Oh, this might be our best one. As you venture deeper into the Forsaken office, your journey is obstructed by hordes of marketing zombies, each embodying the worst office cliches and jargon you have ever encountered. But fear not, armed with your sharp wit, clever turn, plot twisters to... Yeah, I don't think this is... I don't think this is going to work, which I'm actually not surprised. I mean, this is actually written a really good paragraph for anyone who hasn't seen this. This is actually written a really good paragraph of text if I was marketing an abandoned office full of marketing zombies. You know, like maybe as an example, I can show you, like, if this is in a push notification, for instance, we'll generate that. It's the same thing about waking up in a office full of marketing zombies. So let's see where this puts us. I mean, it's a cool little tool if you haven't used it. So if you're trying to write copy really quick and get this out, new challenge alert. You awaken in a desolate office surrounded by marketing zombies. Can you craft your escape? Begin your story now. That's probably nearly a better heading. Oh, I wonder if we can do this with just push messages. All right. Let's go for it. We're going to go into ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Get into ChatGPT. All right. You are... Oh, is my prompt still there? No, I lost it. Of course I did. You are a text adventure game writer. You are writing a game about waking up in an abandoned office full of marketing zombies. Can you please write me the first paragraph along with 4 possible options and follow-up graphs for each of these. Oh, and just so we don't end up crazy, at least 2 of these paragraphs should lead to the same place. I'll just put 2, not at least 2, because then we'll probably find out that it'll just do 4. All right, let's go. Marketing zombies. This is gonna be a good game. Absolutely, David. Here's a fun, moody, and slightly satirical opening. Marketing zombie. Blah blah blah. Blah. You awake. All right. Abandoned. A marketing zombie adventure. Ooh, that's our subject line sorted. Done. You awaken to the flicker of dead fluorescent lights and sickly sweet stench of stale coffee and expired ambition. I like this already. I don't know about you guys out there, but yeah. I'm not saying I have expired ambition, but like that's a great line. You awaken to the flicker of dead fluorescent light. Opening paragraphs. You jolt awake in a tattered swivel chair, crusted lanyard digging into your neck. Your name tag reads Senior Life Cycle Optimization Strategist. Whatever that meant. All right, we're on to something. I think what's really cool about this is I think it's also remembered what I do for a living in the other conversation we've had and decided to just chuck all that in there. So, something here, logo. Option 2, the break room is trashed. It's got my options a bit mixed up, but let's go with this. We'll just get this in there first. All right, I'm just going to split this out so I can actually see what we're doing. And go back in here. All right. So this will be our subject. So exciting. Long subject. Abandoned. A marketing zombie adventure. Yeah. All right. You awaken to the flicker of dead fluorescent lights and the sickly stale stench of... All right. And then we can put that as the heading. And then we can just go... We can take this one. You have a strange feeling you are not alone. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. How big is this? 14. You can be 16. Great. Yep, great. All right, what do you do? Search your desk for anything useful. All right, this is where I thought these buttons might actually become a problem being like this. So I'm probably going to have to stack these vertically, I think, for this point. Thought this might happen because we need to put text with each of these. But that's all right. Part of the journey is just winging it most of the time, isn't it? So D, you can go down here. C, you can go here. B, you can go here. And A, your row, I will just get rid of this and this and this and this. Beautiful. All right. And then we need to put in a paragraph. Just so this is looking snazzy, we'll put a little divider in here, just so we know that that's not part of the journey. All right. Oh, will this fit in the buttons? Even better if that was the case. Search your even better. There we go. Search your desk for anything useful. We'll zoom this in so you can actually see what we're working with here. Bro. All right, there we go. Sneak toward the break room and look for survivors. Yell hello into the office void. I mean, a lot of people probably do that on the daily, even if you haven't woken up in the middle of your zombie marketing game. Or crawl into the nearest air vent. All right, so we don't need this paragraph block. These buttons are ugly, by the way, so we need to fix that while we're at it. Let's go with border radius of 50 because basically you curve everything these days. I actually think things are actually starting to go back to square, to be honest, because kids are loving the 90s again. But we're going to put these. We'll put these as 50. The reason I put them as 50 is because if you go sort of 50 and above, it makes anything pretty much circle. So it's a nice way to do that. And we might make these a little bit nice big buttons, shall we? Whoa. Actually, why don't we just do 20 on all sides and then we don't have to mess around with any of this. All right, and we go options 20. 20? What did I pad? I padded the block. Let's just undo that. We want the button. My button. Do you guys see I just did the same thing twice in a row? I want my button to be 20. What the? Surely that's not me this time. I've just done that 3 times in a row. All right. Let's try this again. Padding, block, button hover. All right. And we're going to do content padding 20 and content padding 20. Should bold these. All right, good. Maybe we'll make them 16 for good measure. $16. Great. That doesn't look perfect, but it looks better than it did. So I wonder if there's a way just like to stretch them for the entire length of the block. There's probably a button in here where I can just make that happen, but that's fine. We can go with this for now. All right, you awaken to the flicker of dead fluorescent lights and sickly sweet stench of stale coffee and ambition. And then you jolt awake in a tattered swivel chair, a crusty lanyard digging into blah, blah, blah. It's cubicles, tombstones, shattered whiteboard reads, Q2 revenue or die trying. You have a strange feeling you're not alone. Now, if going back to what we were talking about before, Journey 1, 2, 3, and 4, these buttons still remain the same, so nothing's changed there, even though we've changed all the text and everything on these buttons themselves. So this should still work exactly as we expect. Now, since we've got that one, we can go back to our options, and I reckon we're only going to get through these options today, and then we're going to be nearly have to come back to this next week. All right. So we're going to go into message 1. We're going to edit this message. Actually, I probably should copy the one with all the buttons on it. Let's go back to that, shall we? I'm just going to duplicate the ones that have all the buttons on them just so that it's the same all the way down. Then I don't have to rebuild the buttons every time. Delete step. Delete. Send users to another step. No, we want to delete the step. Delete step. Yes. Delete step. Delete step. Oh, I can't see the little thingy. Delete step. Delete step. And delete step. Delete step. All right. So I'm just going to copy the one that's up here. Duplicate. Bring it down here. Because it will be Journey 1. We'll call it Journey 1A. I reckon that might be a good way to go with that. Now if we duplicate that, we have Journey 1A. My naming convention of all these things has just been chaos, to say the least. And duplicate that. Journey 1D. Let's move this over so I have a bit more space to work with over here so you can still see what's going on. All right, and that one, and that one. Now we're going to come in here. Whoa, geez, buttons have gotten fat when they put them on my bar. That's to worry about another day. So first thing we need to do is need to go in here, options, search your desk for anything useful. That will need to, we'll put that in as the title. Abandoned Zombie Adventure. Let's go with part 2. That's probably a good way to put that. And then we'll go into here. We've got our text here. We've got our, we'll show them what the option was that they selected. Put that as the heading. Search your desk for anything useful. You rifle through your drawers, a half-eaten protein bar, a stress ball like a brain, a USB, yep, campaign final, PPTX. Classic. And we'll worry about these options in a minute. Main thing is I'm just going to get all these loaded in so that we can test this and actually see this come through, and then we'll know if this is actually working as we would hope. Move that over a bit further. So if anyone has just joined, we're actually building a text adventure game inside Braze. Currently using aliases on the buttons to get through that. So this was, I think it was part 2, wasn't it? That's what I was putting in here. And I've asked ChatGPT for some text because I tried doing it in the Braze AI. It did a great job of writing marketing text, but it just wasn't doing a great job of putting a story together like this. And so basically we've got the first email working with the options, and now it's going to take us on to the next 3 options. This whole story is about marketing waking up in an office full of marketing zombies. I'm going to build this over the next few weeks, I think, because this story is really starting to come together. You know what we should do is we should actually put it online somewhere when it's done so people can actually just log in and play it. It'd be a good thing to do. Make it so long that it crashes the system. All right, option 3. Yell hello into the office void. Ooh, this has got something about footsteps. I'm not even going to read this. Excited about what it might say. All right, and then we need to go here and put part 2. And I've got one more, and then we can test this one more time. I think that'll nearly be it for tonight, but this is exciting. If you've just joined, trust me, you're in for an exciting time. You probably haven't seen like something like this for a little while. All right. I would argue you haven't seen anyone do this ever, maybe. But this is cool. This is cool. Feel free to borrow this for your campaigns, by the way. If you want to build a zombie adventure story or any kind of text adventure. Part 2. Because everyone can go on a different journey. If anyone get in the chat, just tell me what you're up to tonight. I'd be curious to know what everyone else is doing while you've got this going. Whether it's in the background or whether you're just watching it. All right, last one. All right, we won't worry about our buttons today. We'll make this pretty another time. Oof. Just put him over here so we don't lose him. Now, do this. All right, get my mate Bruno out. We'll get this. We'll launch this. I'm just doing the old save and continue down here in case anyone, well, I was going to say in case anyone can't see that. It's just under there. There we go. Save and continue. Go launch this bad boy. All right. Update canvas. Update canvas. Oh, I hope anyone else is excited. Hey, could someone let me know in the chat which I should pick? I've got 4 options. You can have A, B, C, or D. Just stick A, B, C, or D in the chat, and we'll go with the one that's the most common there. All right, so gonna have my mate Bruno. I'm gonna launch this canvas, and then we can come back to the email. And now we wait. All right, there we go. Got our first email. MVP, abandoned marketing zombie adventure. You awaken to the flicker of dead fluorescent lights and the sickly sweet stench of stale coffee and expired ambition. Oh, man, me and my zooming today. Expired ambition. You jolt awake in a tattered swivel chair, crusty lanyard digging into your neck. Your name tag reads Senior Lifecycle Optimization Strategist. Whatever that meant. The office is dim. Only the sound of a distant slop slop, like someone dragging feet across a sticky linoleum floor. These cubicles stand like tombstones, monitors lifeless. A shattered whiteboard reads, Q2 revenue or die trying. You have a strange feeling you're not alone. A, search your desk for anything useful. B, sneak towards the break room to look for survivors. Yell hello into the office void. Or crawl into the nearest air vent. You've probably got 1 minute to chime in on this if you want to let me know A, B, C, or D. If not, I think we're going to go with B. We're going to sneak towards the break room, look for other survivors, I think, at this point. I'll give you a moment just to slap A, B, C, or D in there if you want to. This is so exciting. Can't believe this is actually working. What's cool about this is you can build this into any sort of journey you want. All right. Since our action path has a 3-minute timer, I'm going to sneak toward the break room and look for other survivors. Goes into our thank you page. Response has been submitted. And your journey continues. So you can set this. You can set this to sit for a week. Keep an eye on your inbox. You bet I will, because this is exciting. I'm just going to delete that one so there's no problem. Now, as long as our 3-minute timer didn't go out, we should be getting part B of this story. Actually, what was part B meant to be? Just so we can check that. Part B should start with sneaks towards the break. Oh, I just clicked that. Of course I did. Duh. Oh. You've got mail. Abandoned Zombie Marketing Adventure Part 2. Sneak towards the break room and look for survivors. I feel like we need a better tune to make that one happen, but chill music is fine. So we sneak towards the break room and look for survivors. The break room is trashed. Fridges hang open, leaking mystery fluids. A microwaved lean cuisine, I love that I haven't read this, still spins endlessly inside a dead microwave. The vending machine's glass is smashed. In the corner, a marketing intern gnaws on what looks like a campaign printout. She turns, her eyes glowing LinkedIn blue. Which is great, because that's pretty much what I chose for these buttons here unknowingly. Just ignore, I don't know why I'm covering that up. I'll cover this up instead. Just ignore these buttons at the moment, because we haven't updated these. But it's worked. By golly, it's worked. So next week, we'll hop on here. I'll be back here on Wednesday around the same time. I reckon we'll start building more of this out. Don't have to do this all the way through, but we'll take a portion of each week to start building this story out, I think. And just for anyone who might have joined who doesn't fully know what we've gone through to make this work, because that's probably of interest to people who actually are using Braze, is I'm triggering this by an API, so I'm just dropping myself in here at this point. It's sending an email to me, and that email comes in. They look ridiculous in here, but that email comes in with the first part of this story, so this could be whatever you want, and 4 buttons. Now, what's cool about these buttons though is when you're in an email, generally Braze or any email tool knows you've clicked a button, but it doesn't know which button you've clicked because emails are just HTML and they're not that clever in a lot of cases. But what you can do is you put a link on the button, like a URL. In my case, I'm sending them all just to my portfolio page. And then if you come into link management, it gives all of them an alias. It adds a little bit of code at the end of it. And you can name these whatever you want. So I've named them Journey 1, 2, 3, 4. So it adds this link at the end. And you can Braze can look for this alias to tell which button has been pressed. That's where this gets clever. So it's not knowing, it doesn't really know which button's pressed. It knows which alias you sent them to with that button. We're dropping into an action path. Yes, it is action path. I've been saying that wrong all night because calling action step. I'm holding here for 3 minutes. You can hold them here as long as you want. And what happens, it goes, clicks alias in email for canvas step in the text adventure canvas, email 0, journey 1. So it just knows that you've clicked the alias related to that button. So even though it doesn't know what button you clicked, it knows which alias you clicked. Journey 2, Journey 3, Journey 4. And then after the 3 minutes are up, it goes, okay, which alias did they click? And drops us into the path. And basically what's good about this now is, I've said basically a lot, by the way, I'm going to get this action path and drop these action paths down here. I reckon there'll be a cap to how many paths I can have in here. So I'm going to filter some back together again. And maybe we'll use a few things like decision splits, audience paths to filter back in. I wonder if I could actually add like just be cool if we could add a weapon in here. Like some sort of weapon or a stat. Oh, we could add a custom attribute with like a health stat. This is so cool. All right, next week we'll build a bit more of the story out. I can go through an article I found during the week if you want to know a bit more about articles, especially AI. I've noticed a lot of people are really interested when we're chatting about AI on here. But we can certainly come back and get back on here and start building more of this out. And now that I've thought that I could use a custom attribute in Braze, which is basically, for those who don't know, it's a little block that can store some data. So I can store like a health stat, like 100, and every time it can go into that attribute and change it to like 99 or 98. Oh, so many things we could do in here that it really wasn't built for. This is exciting. I don't know if anyone else is excited, but thank you for dropping by again. I will be here next week, Wednesday, 9:30 AEST time, but you know, you can watch this back anytime you want, replay it. Even if you dropped in for 5 minutes, come say hello. You can always watch it back on YouTube. I leave all the whole streams up there. They'll be under the live tab. So you just check the live tab and they'll all be sitting there. And hopefully once all this is complete, I might edit some of this down and turn it into a video anyway. But for those who've joined, thank you. This is about you guys, but I'm pretty excited. And if you want to catch me, you can catch me on LinkedIn. I'm floating around on there. Bye. Thanks, Poppy. Bye. Bye, Elliot. Bye, Rainbow Rider. I was going to say bye, Minimum Viable Pizza, but that is me. Bye, Salmon Racer. Good to see you all. Good to see you again, Salmon Racer. And I will see you all again next week. Peace out. It's been good. Bye, Rengoku. I saw that come up late, so bye, Rengoku.